to Resilient Voices, where we get to speak to newfound heroes. My name is Brenda Dempsey, CEO of Brilliance Publishing, and this is my project 2021, Giving Back to the NHS for all the work that they have done in the past. So it's about 15 months now. So let's get right down to it and speak to our guest today, our newfound hero. And he is a real life hero. And we've got the wonderful Captain Chris Ashford. Welcome, Chris.
Hi, Brenda. Thanks very much for having me on.
You're welcome. So, Chris, I think, as I said to you, I prefer my guests to say a little bit about themselves. So why don't you take a minute to just introduce to everybody who you are, what you do, and let's hear that wonderful voice.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name's Chris Ashford, as you've already said. I'm just coming up to the end of 9 years serving in the British Army. I've served a number of roles in the Royal Artillery. It's been really eye-opening and really, really great in the last couple of years after coming off a mentoring operation over in Kabul. I've been working with Initial Training Group, working with all the new talent within the Army and helping develop that into the new kind of training pathway that we've been creating up through to the, into the 20s, I suppose we're in now. But in personal life, I have, as I say, I've come to the end of my 9 years now, leaving the Army in a few months. I've transitioned into launching my own business this year, in not just it's personal training at its core, but it's personal training with a sort of holistic health, wellness, and mental resilience focus, which helps develop not just the physical, but the mental self as well. So I've launched my own business this year, working with people all over the world already, and getting some really positive feedback. And hopefully, fingers crossed, I've seen a few people have made real positive change, and hopefully the people that I'm working with now will see some amazing changes going forward as well. So it's a really, really exciting time for me.
Absolutely. And I will say that resilience is probably runs through your blood. So let's get down to that. But first of all, tell everybody why you said yes to be part of this project.
Well, I was very humbled and honoured to be asked to be a part of this project, first and foremost. I think it's just good to, looking at all the other people who you've been working with as well, it's good to get, people from all different backgrounds. And, I think not only is my professional side required, resilience throughout, especially with this last year, on my personal side as well. And I just really felt that I could give something back and kind of show people, whilst it's been a very, very tough year for many, many people in many different ways. And I feel very blessed and honoured, for how the last year's treated me personally with, being able to launch a business, being able to start a family and stuff. But I think it's just good to basically share what people go through, to show different sides of life and what happens, not necessarily in one profession, but in another, and in people's personal life as well. I think it's very important. Yeah.
Absolutely. We can take skills from one area, exactly the skills and the experience that you've gained with the 9 years in the Army absolutely set you up for life to support other people who haven't been through half of what you've been through, and to give them hope and to show them that there's other ways of being. So let's talk about 2020 and the pandemic. So this is all about resiliency. So in the last year or so, what was one of the biggest challenges you faced as a individual during a lockdown that we've never experienced before?
Sorry, Brenda, you cut out. Can you repeat the question, please?
Oh, I do apologise. Oh no, technology, no, it's live. I'm asking you, what in 2020 we were in lockdown, an experience for most people that they haven't had before. What was the biggest challenge for you?
I suppose I split it up between professional and personal for myself. Professionally, it was very, very difficult because we were in an environment where we needed to be face on with the people that we work with. It's almost unheard of in the history of the British Army to work remotely and to be able to train and to be able to, develop people over the internet. And that was really tricky because we had to manage hundreds of people, hundreds of young minds from the age of 16 up to 35 who want to train to join the British Army, and we had to get them into this culture, into this mindset, and to actually train them, but with them being at home. So that was really, really tricky. And principally my headquarters job was to coordinate all of this. So it was very, very difficult for us to make sure that we're getting the most out of our people whilst still being able to deliver something, because we couldn't stop training. So it came down to what kind of innovation we could provide in order to deliver this training. And of course, we had no idea what was happening. We didn't know whether we were coming back to work, whether we were going to be staying remote for however many months and stuff. So that was tricky as well. And then, as I alluded to in the chapter in the book, personal life, we had starting a new family, we needed medical treatment, and then the pandemic closed down hospitals, it closed down medical facilities, etc., and that put a lot of burden on ourselves as well. And I'm sure people will read about the specifics in my chapter, but it's one of those where you have to you dream of something for so long and you work towards something for so long, but you don't, and then when it gets taken away from you, and again, when people read, they'll understand the specifics. When it's taken away from you, and then there's uncertainty in not only your professional life but also in your personal life, it can really it can be really, really taxing, and not really knowing what the future holds when you've waited so long for something. So that was difficult.
So we are challenged. So tell us how the type of mindset you've got and who you are, that spirit within, how were you able to tap into that and use it to help you get through 2020?
So initially, I would say to be resilient, before the pandemic, I would have said goal setting would have been one of the best things to do, is to set milestones for yourself and then work towards them in all areas of life. But with the pandemic and all the uncertainty, we couldn't really do that. We didn't have these goals we could get to because we couldn't attribute a timeline to anything. But I think the best thing for us in all walks of our life in 2020 was just a positive mindset. Having the positive mindset is one of the keys to unlocking, your resilient self. Because if you don't have the positive mindset, you don't manifest the positivity, and you can't necessarily, work productively towards a goal. So one of the things, especially personally, was having a really positive mindset, a relaxed mindset, not a what will be mindset, but one where you just had to believe that things would get better, and that what you actually dreamed of and what you wanted will happen eventually.
So did you find, even in that situation, that you could still be creative and derive small goals so that you felt a sense of achievement?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yes, we certainly do, but you do get sidetracked a little bit. You create your own little side projects that are nothing to do with what you might normally do. And actually, in a way, it's nice to have that sort of break from the norm and to do things around the house, with your significant other, with your family, that you might not normally do. So I guess you tap into a sort of different side of your creativity, where we're so, blindsided, or we got tunnel vision in our everyday life. When you're at home and you have all these other freedoms taken away from you, you have to adapt and you have to innovate and you have to come up with new things to do. And it's actually been really good looking back, because you do things now, you change your habits that you might not have normally done before, and you kind of get to take a step back and look at your life from the outside, and sort of have a reassessment and evaluation. And if anything, it makes you come out stronger, without a doubt.
Yeah. So what's been the most surprising thing you've learned about yourself?
I think one of the most surprising things I've learned about myself is the ability, is kind of what I just said about just taking stock and stepping back. I've always been one of those people that's had a task, wanted to go and do something, wanted to achieve, not resting, not taking the opportunity to do things for yourself. But really, my wife and I, we've taken a lot of time to do things for ourselves, to explore other areas of our lives outside of our careers, to do different things together. And I think actually devoting a bit of time to yourself, as sort of cliche as it sounds, is really, really important, because it helps your mental health so much. And instead of just racing through life day by day with work and having all these, work's my life, and then I try and fit in a social occasion on the weekend, you get to just look back at yourself and just kind of think, right, I've got all this time. What can I do? I've got, several months where potentially nothing's going to change. How am I going to maximize that time? And we kind of taken that through now into the future. Now we're kind of coming out at the other end of, I've got all this time and I don't want to waste it anymore because I achieved so much last year. What can I do in the next 6 months?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's fantastic. That we've been able to do that, myself, I've created this new publishing house, and it's just going from strength to strength, and we'll have over 100 authors in 1 year, and I think that's quite phenomenal. So tell me, Chris, how would you define resilience? Sorry, did I freeze?
How would I define resilience? I would define... you did you say, how would you define resilience?
I did.
Yeah, I would define resilience by just being open and just being able to not just be reactive, but be proactive. Having a understanding of what your path looks like or what it may look like, so there's no surprises. Resilience is being able to turn on a sixpence and do something that you might not normally do. And I think adaptability is the best word I can come up with to define resilience, because ultimately, if you aren't able to adapt, then you're pigeonholing yourself and you can't move forward.
Yeah. I used to call it being a chameleon, being able to fit into whatever situation I have to fit in, whether I'm working with the homeless or I'm talking to someone in the House of Commons. You have to be able to be, as you say, adaptable. So I used to call myself a chameleon. Well, Chris, I think I want to finish on a really happy note, if it's at all possible. May I ask if it's okay if you share your really good news in the last few days? Is that something you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. So, after all the heartache and all the stops throughout lockdown, last Monday we welcomed our new son, Huxley George Ashford, into the world. He's 8 days old today, and he's doing really, really well. So it's been an absolute pleasure to, expand the family after all this time.
So my deepest congratulations, and I just think it's wonderful. I had a grandchild born during lockdown myself, so I know the joy during dark moments that a new life can bring. So Chris, thank you very much for giving me your precious time today. I don't want to keep you any further. I want you to go back and enjoy your precious time with your new son. So thank you very much, Chris.
Thanks very much for your time. Appreciate it.